Welcome! Today, we're going to dive into the secrets of life itself. And what's amazing is that so much of life's incredible complexity boils down to two fundamental ideas: the specific shape of a molecule and the constant flow of energy through the entire universe. So let's kick things off with a little puzzle, one you've probably even experienced yourself. Have you ever noticed how two things can smell or taste completely different, even though they seem almost identical? Well, the answer is hidden down at the molecular level. Okay, take a look at these two molecules. On the left, we have R-carbone, and on the right, S-carbone. Now here's the crazy part. They have the exact same atoms, all connected in the exact same order. The only difference between them? They're perfect mirror images of each other, like your left and right hands. But to our noses, one is spearmint and the other is caraway. How is that even possible? And that little puzzle brings us to our first huge idea. Life is incredibly picky about shape. You see, biological systems don't just register a bunch of atoms. They see a very specific three-dimensional structure. Now, there's a fancy scientific name for this. It's called Stereospecificity, and it's one of the most fundamental rules for how living cells work. Our smell receptors in our noses are built to recognize a very specific shape, and only the molecule with the correct handedness is going to fit and trigger the right signal. The concept is actually brilliantly simple, right? A binding site on a protein in your body is like a glove that's been made for a specific hand. So if a molecule is the left-handed version, its right-handed twin just won't fit. It doesn't matter that it's made of the exact same stuff. Shape is everything. And this isn't some rare thing. This is happening in your body millions of times a second. Right here, you can see a small molecule fitting perfectly into a pocket on a much larger RNA molecule, kind of like a key sliding into a lock. This perfect, snug fit is absolutely crucial for almost every single thing that happens in biology, from how medicines work to how our genes get read. Okay, so we've got it. Life creates these highly specific, incredibly ordered structures. But, and this is a huge but, this whole drive for order seems to run straight into a brick wall, one of the most fundamental laws of the entire universe. And that law is all about something called entropy. Now, what is entropy? Well, you can just think of it as a measure of disorder or randomness. The second law of thermodynamics is simple. It says that the total disorder of the universe is always increasing. Everything in the universe naturally moves from a state of order toward chaos, not the other way around. So this creates a massive paradox, right? If the entire universe is constantly sliding into chaos, how in the world can life even exist? How can it build these beautiful, complex, ordered things like proteins and DNA? I mean, is life somehow breaking the laws of physics? Let's look at a real-world example that's happening in your body right now, burning sugar for energy. We start with just 7 molecules, 1 glucose and 6 oxygen. But after the reaction happens, what do we end up with? 12 molecules, 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water. See, we went from fewer, more organized molecules to more spread out molecules. That's an increase in disorder. That's entropy in action. So, if everything is always tending toward disorder, how does life build order? What's the secret? Does life have some kind of cheat code? Well, not exactly. It turns out life doesn't break the rules. It just has a really clever way of paying its dues. Think about it like this. Building a complex molecule is what we'd call a thermodynamically unfavorable process. It's like trying to push a giant boulder uphill. It is just not going to happen by itself. It takes a constant input of energy to do the work of creating and then maintaining that order. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. Where do our cells get all this energy to constantly fight against the tide of chaos and build themselves up? The answer for pretty much all life on this planet is this amazing little molecule called ATP. Seriously, you should think of it as the cell's universal rechargeable battery pack. Whenever a cell needs to do some work, like build a protein, it just breaks one of ATP's high-energy bonds and poof, a perfect little packet of energy gets released right where it's needed. And this is the trick. This is how life pays for order. It's a strategy called energy coupling. Cells take an energy-releasing downhill reaction, like breaking that ATP molecule, and they use that burst of energy to power an energy-requiring uphill reaction, like building that protein. By pairing these two events together, the whole process becomes favorable. It can actually happen. Okay, so all this clever energy accounting, it brings us to our final and honestly kind of mind-blowing idea about what life really is. It's all about a constant dynamic balance. You see, living things, we're not in equilibrium with the world around us. I mean, if we were, we'd be dead. Instead, we exist in what's called a dynamic steady state. We are constantly building things up and breaking things down, taking in fuel and getting rid of waste, all just to keep our internal composition remarkably stable while the world outside is always changing. We are what's known as open systems. We pull in high-energy, ordered fuel from our environment, whether that's food or sunlight. We use that energy to maintain our own internal order. And in doing so, we release low-energy, disordered waste products like carbon dioxide and heat back out into the universe. So in short, we get to create our own little local pockets of order, but we do it at the expense of increasing the total chaos of everything around us. So, at the end of the day, life isn't some miracle that defies the second law of thermodynamics. Nope. It's a brilliant, elegant exploitation of that law. Life actually exists because the universe is tending towards disorder. It's like life is surfing this massive, unstoppable wave of increasing entropy, and it's just siphoning off a little bit of that energy for itself. And that kind of leaves us with this one last thing to think about. Our very existence, from the specific shape of the molecules inside our cells to the thoughts inside our brain, it's all just a temporary island of stunning complexity. An island that's powered by the relentless, universal flow of energy towards ultimate disorder. Our lives really are just a constant, delicate negotiation between order and chaos.